The Tao that can be told is not
Know
the
the
eternal
strength
Tao.
of man, but keep
The
a
name
woman's
that can be
care.
named
Be a
is
valley
not
under
the
heaven.
eternal name.
If you do, the
The Tao
constant
is both
virtue
named
will
and
not fade
nameless.
away.
As
One
nameless,
will
it is the
become like a
origin of all
child again.
things. As
Know
named,
the white,
it is the
keep
mother
to the
of
black,
10,000
and be
things.
the pattern of the world.
Ever desireless,
To
one
be the
can see the
pattern of
mystery.
the world is
Ever
to move
desiring,
constantly in the path
one
of
sees
virtue,
only the manifestation.
without erring a single
And the mystery
step,
itself is the doorway
and to return again
all
to the
understanding.
One who understands splendor while holding to humility acts in accord with eternal power. To be the fountain of the world
Under heaven,
is to
all
live
can
the
see
abundant
beauty
life
as
of
beauty,
virtue.
only because
When the
there is ugliness.
unformed is formed
All
into
can know
objects,
good as good,
its original
only
qualities are lost.
because there is evil.
If you preserve your
Being
original qualities,
and non-being
you can govern
produce each
anything.
other.
Truly,
The difficult is
the
born
best
in the
governor
easy.
governs least.
Long is defined by short, the high by the low. Before and after go along with each other. So the sage lives openly with apparent duality and
You think you can
paradoxical
take over
unity.
the universe and
The
improve
sage
it?
can act without
I
effort
do not believe
and
it can be
teach
done.
without words,
Everything
nurturing
under heaven
things
is
without
a sacred
possessing them.
vessel and cannot be
He works,
controlled.
but not for rewards.
Trying to control
He
leads to
competes,
ruin.
but not for
Trying to
results.
grasp, we lose.
When the work is done,
Allow your
it is
life to
forgotten.
unfold naturally.
That is why it lasts
Know that
forever.
it too is a vessel of perfection. Just as you breathe in and breathe out, there is a time for being ahead.
Putting a
and
value
time
on
for being
status
behind.
will create
A
contentiousness.
time for being in motion.
If you overvalue
and a time for
possessions,
being at
people
rest.
begin to steal.
A time for being
By not
vigorous.
displaying what is desirable,
and a time
you will
for
cause
being
the people's
exhausted.
hearts to remain
A time for
undisturbed.
being safe.
The sage governs
and a
by
time for
emptying
being in
minds
danger.
and hearts, by
To the
weakening
sage,
ambitions
All
and
of
strengthening
life is a
bones.
movement toward
Practice
perfection.
not doing.
So what need
When
has
action
he
is
for the
pure and
excessive, the
selfless,
extravagant,
everything
or the
settles
extreme?
into its own perfect place. Heaven and earth are impartial. They see the 10,000 things
One
as
who would
straw
guide
dogs.
a leader of men
The
in the
sage
uses
is not
of life
sentimental.
will
He
warn
treats
him
all his
against
people as
the
straw
use of
dogs.
arms for
The
conquest.
sage is like heaven and earth.
Weapons
To him,
often
none
turn
are
upon the
especially
wielder.
dear, nor is there anyone he
Where
disfavors.
armies
He
settle,
gives and
nature
gives
offers
without
nothing
condition,
but briars
offering
and
his
thorns.
treasures to everyone.
After a great
Between
battle
heaven
has
and
been
earth
fought,
is
the
a
land is
space
cursed.
like a bellows.
The crops
empty
fail,
and
the earth
inexhaustible.
lies stripped
The more it is
of
used,
its motherhood.
the more it produces.
After
Hold
you
on
have
to the
attained
center.
your purpose,
Man was
you
made
must
to
not
sit
parade
quietly
your
and
success.
find the truth within.
You must not boast of your ability. You must not feel proud. You must rather regret that you had not been able to
The
prevent
spirit
the
that
war.
never dies is called the
You must never
mysterious
think
feminine.
of conquering others
Although
by
she
force.
becomes the whole universe, her
Whatever
immaculate
strains
purity
with
is
force
never
will
lost.
soon decay.
Although she assumes
It's
countless
not
forms,
attuned to the way.
her true identity
Not being
remains
attuned
intact.
to the way.
The
Its
gateway
end
to the
comes
mysterious
all too
female
soon.
is called the root of creation. Listen to her voice. Hear it echo through creation. Without fail, she reveals her presence. Without fail, she brings us to our own
Weapons
perfection.
are the tools
Although
of
it is
violence.
invisible, it endures.
All decent
It
men
will never
detest them.
end.
Therefore, followers of the Tao never use them. Arms serve evil. They are
Heaven
the
is
tools of
eternal.
those who
The
oppose
earth endures.
wise rule.
Why do heaven and
Use
earth
them
last
only as a
forever?
last resort.
They do not live for
For
themselves
peace
only.
and quiet
This
are
is the
dearest
secret of their
to the decent
durability.
man's heart.
For this
And to
reason,
him,
the
even
sage
a
puts
victory
himself
is no
last
cause
and
for
so ends
rejoicing.
up ahead. He
He
stays a
who
witness
thinks
to life,
triumph
so he
beautiful
endures.
is one with a
Serve
will
the
to
needs
kill.
of others, and
And
all
one
your
with a
own
will
needs will
to
be
kill
fulfilled.
shall never prevail
Through
upon the
selfless
world.
action, fulfillment.
It is a good
Success.
sign when man's higher nature comes forward. A bad sign when his lower nature comes forward. With the slaughter of multitudes we have
The
grief
supreme
and
good
sorrow.
is like water,
Every victory
which
is a
nourishes all
funeral.
things
When
without
you win a
trying to.
war,
It flows to
you
low
celebrate
places,
by
loathed by
mourning.
all men. Therefore, it is like the Tao. Live in accordance with the nature of things. In dwelling, be close to the land. In meditation, go deep in the heart. In dealing with others, be
The eternal
gentle and
Tao
kind.
has no name.
Stand by your word.
Although simple
Govern
and subtle,
with equity.
no one in the
Be
world can
timely
master
in
it.
choosing the right moment.
If kings
One who
and
lives in
lords could
accordance with
harness
nature
them,
does
the
not go against
10,000
the way of
things would
things.
naturally obey.
He moves in harmony with the
Heaven
present
and earth
moment,
would rejoice
always
with the
knowing the
dripping
truth
of sweet
just
dew.
what to do.
Everyone would live in harmony, not by official decree, but by their own goodness. Once the whole is divided, the parts
To
need
keep on
names.
filling is not as
There
good
are
as
already
stopping.
enough names.
Overfilled, the
Know when
cupped
to
hands
stop.
drip.
No one
Better
reason
to stop
sets
pouring.
limits to avoid
Sharpen a
peril.
blade too much, and
Rivers
its
and
edge will soon be
streams
lost.
are born of the
Fill
ocean,
your house with jade and
all
gold, and it brings
creation is born of the
insecurity.
Tao.
Puff yourself with
Just as
honor
all
and pride,
water flows
and no
back
one
to
can save
become
you
the
from a
ocean,
fall.
all
Retire when the
creation
work is
flows
done.
back.
This
become
is the
the
way
Tao.
of heaven. Carrying body and soul and embracing the one, can you avoid separation?
One who understands
Can you
others
let your body
has
become
knowledge.
as supple as a newborn child?
One who understands
In the opening and
himself
shutting
has
of heaven's
wisdom.
gate, can you play the feminine
Mastering
part?
others
Can you
requires
love your
force.
people and govern your domain without
Mastering the
self-importance?
self
Giving
needs
birth
strength.
and nourishing, having,
If you
yet
realize
not
that you have
possessing,
enough, you are truly
working,
rich.
yet not taking credit,
One who
leading
gives
without
himself to
controlling
his
or
position
dominating.
surely lives long.
One who heeds this power
One who
brings
gives
the Tao
himself to the
to this
Tao
very earth.
surely
This is the
lives
primal
forever.
virtue. "30 spokes converge upon a single hub. It is on the hole in the center
The
that
great
the use
way
of the
is
cart
universal.
hinges.
It can apply
Shape
to the
clay
left
into
or
a
the right.
vessel. It is the
All
space
beings
within
depend
that
on it
makes
for
it
life.
useful.
Even so,
Carve fine
it does
doors
not
and
take
windows,
possession of them.
but the room is useful
It
in
accomplishes
its
its
emptiness.
purpose, but makes
The
no claim
usefulness
for
of
itself.
what is depends
It
on
covers all
what is
creatures
not.
like the sky, but does not dominate them. All things return to it as to their home, but
The
it does
5
not
colors
lord it
blind
over
the
them.
eye.
Thus
The
it may
5
be called
tones
great.
deafen the ear.
The
The 5
sage
flavors dull the
imitates
taste.
this
The
conduct
chase and the hunt
by not
praise
claiming
people's
greatness.
minds. Wasting
Sage
energy to
achieves
obtain rare
greatness.
objects only impedes one's growth. The master observes the world but trusts his inner vision. He allows things to come and go. He prefers what is within.
All
what is
men
without.
will come to him who keeps to the one. They flock to him and receive no harm, for in him they find peace,
Favor and disgrace
security,
seem alarming.
and happiness.
High status greatly
Music
afflicts
and
your
dining
person.
are passing pleasures,
Why are favor
yet
and
they
disgrace
cause
alarming?
people to stop.
Seeking
How
favor is
bland
degrading,
and insipid
alarming
are
when
the
it is
things
gotten,
of this world
alarming when it is lost.
when one compares them to the
Why does
Tao.
high status greatly afflict
When you
your
look for
person?
it, there's nothing to see.
The reason we have a
When
lot
you
of
listen
trouble
for it,
is
there's
that we
nothing
have
to hear.
selves.
When
If
you
we had
use
no
it,
selves, what
it
trouble
cannot be
would we have?
exhausted.
Man's true self is eternal, yet he thinks, I am this body and will soon die. If we have no body, what calamities can we have? One who sees himself as
Should you
everything
want to
is fit
contain
to be
something,
guardian of
you
the
must
world.
deliberately
One
let
who
it
loves
expand.
himself as everyone
Should you want to
is fit to
weaken
be
something,
teacher
you
of
must
this world.
deliberately let it grow strong. Should you want to eliminate something, you must deliberately allow it to flourish. Should you want to take
That which
something
cannot
away,
be seen
you
is
must
called
deliberately
invisible.
grant it access.
That which cannot be
The
heard
lesson
is
here is
called
called
inaudible.
the wisdom of
That which cannot
obscurity.
be held is called
The gentle
intangible.
outlasts the strong.
These 3 cannot be
obscure
defined. Therefore,
outlasts
they
the
are
obvious.
merged as one.
Fish cannot
Each of
leave
these
deep
3
waters,
is subtle for description.
and a
By
country's
intuition, you
weapons
can
should
see
not be
it, hear
displayed.
it, and feel it. Then the unseen, unheard, and untouched are present as one. Its rising brings no dawn, its setting no darkness. It goes on, unnameable, returning into nothingness.
The Tao does
Approach
nothing,
it, and there is
but
no
leaves
beginning.
nothing undone.
Follow it, and there is no end.
If powerful
You cannot
men
know it, but you
could
can
center
be it,
themselves in it,
at ease
the
in
whole
your own
world
life.
would be transformed by
Discovering
itself
how
in
things
its
have
natural
always
rhythms.
been brings
When
one
life
into
is
harmony
simple,
with the way.
pretenses fall away. Our essential natures shine through. By not wanting, there is calm, and the world will
The ancient
straighten
masters
itself.
were profound and
When
subtle.
there is silence,
Their wisdom
one
was
finds the
unfathomable.
anchor of the universe
There's no way to
within
describe it.
oneself.
One can only describe them vaguely by their appearance. Watchful, like men crossing a winter stream. Alert, like men aware of danger. Simple as uncarved wood. Hollow like caves. Yielding like ice
A truly
about to
good
melt.
man is not aware of
Amorphous,
his goodness,
like muddy water.
and is therefore good.
But the muddiest water
A
clears.
foolish man
as it
tries
is
to be
stilled.
good, and is
And
therefore
out of
not
that
good.
stillness, life arises.
The master does nothing.
He who
yet
keeps the
leaves
Tao
nothing
does not
undone.
want to be full.
The ordinary
But
man is
precisely
always doing
because he
things,
is never
yet
full,
many more are left
He
to
can
be
remain
done.
like a hidden sprout.
The
He does
highest
not rush
virtue is to
early
act
ripening.
without a sense of self. The highest kindness is to give without condition. The highest justice is to see without preference.
Become totally empty.
When the Tao is lost,
Let
there
your
is
heart
goodness.
be at peace.
When
Amidst
goodness
the
is
rush
lost,
of worldly
there is
comings and
morality.
goings, observe how
When
endings become
morality
beginnings.
is lost, there is
Things
ritual.
flourish each by each,
Ritual
only
is
to
the
return
husk
to the
of
source,
true faith,
to what is,
the
and
beginning
what is to be.
of chaos.
To return to the
The
root is
great
to
master
find peace.
follows his
To
own
find
nature,
peace
and not
is
the
to fulfill
trappings of
one's
life.
destiny.
It is said,
To fulfill one's
he
destiny is
stays
to be
with the
constant.
fruit and not
To
the
know
fluff.
the constant is
He
called
stays
insight.
with the firm
Not
and not
knowing
the
this
flimsy.
cycle leads
He
to
stays
eternal
with the
disaster.
true and not
Knowing
the
the
false.
constant gives perspective. This perspective is impartial. Impartiality is the highest nobility. The highest nobility is divine. Being divine, you will be at one with
These
the Tao.
things from
Being
ancient
at one with
times
the Tao
arise
is
from
eternal.
one. The
This
sky
way
is
is
whole and
everlasting,
clear. The
not
earth is
endangered
whole
by
and
physical
firm. The spirit is whole and full. The 10,000 things are whole, and the country is upright. All
With the
these
greatest leader
are in
above
virtue
them, people
of
barely know one
wholeness.
exists.
When man
Next comes one
interferes
whom
with
they
the
love
Tao,
and praise.
the sky becomes
Next comes
filthy.
one whom they fear.
The earth becomes
Next
depleted.
comes one whom they
The
despise
equilibrium
and defy.
crumbles. Creatures
When a leader trusts
become
no
extinct.
one, no one trusts him.
Therefore,
The great leader
nobility
speaks
is
little.
rooted in
He never
humility.
speaks carelessly. He
Loftiness
works without
is based
self-interest and
on
leaves no
lowliness.
trace. When all is finished,
This is why
the
noble
people say,
refer to themselves
"We did
as
it
alone,
ourselves."
lacking, and unworthy. The pieces of a chariot are useless unless they work in accordance with the whole.
When the greatness of the Tao is
A
present,
man's life brings
action
nothing
arises from one's own heart.
unless he lives
When
in
the greatness
accordance
of the
with
Tao
the
is
whole
absent,
universe.
action comes
Playing
from the
one's
rules
part
of
in
kindness and
accordance
justice.
with the universe
If you need rules to be
true
kind
humility.
and just, if you act
Truly,
virtuous,
too much honor
this
means
is a sure
no
sign
honor.
that virtue is absent.
It's
Thus
not
we see the
wise to
great
shine
hypocrisy
like jade
when
and
kinship
resound
falls
like
into
stone
discord.
chimes.
Piety and rites of devotion arise. When the country falls into chaos, official loyalists will appear, and patriotism is born.
Returning is the motion of the Tao. Yielding is the way of the Tao. The
Give up
10,000 things
sainthood,
are born of
renounce
being,
wisdom, and it will be
being
100 times
is
better for
born
everyone.
of non-being.
Throw away morality and justice, and people will do the right thing. Throw away industry and profit, and there will be no thieves. All of these are outward forms alone.
A
They
great
are not
scholar
sufficient
hears
in
of the
themselves.
Tao and begins
It is more
diligent
important
practice.
to see the simplicity, to
A
realize
middling
one's true
scholar
nature,
hears of the Tao
to cast
and
off
retains
selfishness
some
and temper
loses some.
desire.
An inferior scholar hears of the Tao and roars with ridicule. Without that laugh, it would not be the Tao. So
Give
there
up
are
learning,
constructive
and you will
sayings
be
on
free
this.
from all your care.
The way of illumination
What is the difference
seems
between
dark.
yes and no?
Going forward
What is the difference
seems
between
like
good
retreat.
and evil?
The easy
Must I
way
fear what
seems
others
hard.
fear? Should I
True
fear
power
desolation
seems
when
weak.
there is abundance? Should I fear
True purity
darkness
seems
when that
tarnished.
light is shining everywhere?
True clarity
In spring,
seems
some go to the
obscure.
park and climb the
The
terrace,
greatest art seems
but I alone am drifting,
unsophisticated.
not knowing where I am.
The greatest love
Like a
seems
newborn babe
indifferent.
before it learns to
The
smile,
greatest
I am
wisdom
alone, without a
seems
place to go.
childish. The
Most
Tao
people
is
have too
hidden
much. I alone
and
seem to be
nameless.
missing something.
The Tao
Mine
alone
is indeed
nourishes
the mind of an ignoramus
and brings
in its
everything to
unadulterated
fulfillment.
simplicity. I am but a guest in this world. While others rush about to get things done, I accept what is offered. I alone seem foolish, earning little, spending less.
The
Other
Tao
people
gave
strive
birth
for
to
fame.
one.
I avoid the
One
limelight, preferring to be
gave
left
birth
alone.
to two.
Indeed,
Two
I
gave
seem
birth
like an
to
idiot.
three.
No mind, no worries.
All three begat the
I drift like a
10,000
wave on the
things.
ocean.
The
I blow as
10,000
aimless
things
as the
carry
wind.
yin
All
and
men settle
embrace
down
yang.
in their grooves.
They
I
achieve
alone am
harmony
stubborn
by
and remain
combining these
outside.
forces.
But wherein I am
People
most different
suffer
from
at the
others
thought of being
is
without
in knowing
parents,
to take
without food, or
sustenance
without
from the
worth.
Great Mother.
Yet this is the very way that kings and lords once described themselves. For one gains by losing, and loses
The greatest
by gaining.
virtue is to follow the Tao,
What others
and the
taught,
Tao
I
alone.
teach.
The Tao is
The
elusive and
violent do not
intangible.
die a natural death.
Although formless and intangible,
This
it
is
gives
my
rise to
fundamental
form.
teaching.
Although vague and elusive, it gives rise to shapes. Although dark and obscure, it is the spirit, the essence, the life breath of all things.
The
Throughout the
softest of all
ages, its name
things
has been preserved
overrides the
in order to
hardest of
recall
all
the
things.
beginning of all things.
That without substance
How do I know the
enters where
ways
there
of
is
all
no
things
space.
at the beginning?
Hence I know the
I look
value
inside
of
myself
non-action.
and see what is
Teaching
within
without
me.
words, performing without actions, few in the world can grasp it. That is the Master's way. Rare indeed are
The flexible
those who
are
obtain the
preserved
bounty of this
unbroken.
world.
The bent become straight. The empty are filled. The exhausted becomes renewed. The poor are enriched. The rich are confounded.
Which means more to you?
Therefore the sage
You or
embraces
your
the
renown?
one. Because he
Which
doesn't
brings
display
more to
himself,
you,
people
you
can see his light.
Or what you own?
Because he has nothing to prove, people
I
can
say
trust his
what
words.
you gain is
Because
more
he doesn't
trouble
know
than what
who he
you
is,
lose.
people recognize themselves in
Love is
him.
the fruit of sacrifice.
Because he has no goal in
Wealth
mind,
is the fruit
everything
of
he does
generosity.
succeeds.
A
The
contented
old
man
saying that
is
the
never
flexible are
disappointed.
preserved unbroken
He
is
who
surely
knows when
right.
to stop is preserved
If you have truly
from peril.
attained wholeness,
Only thus
everything
can you
will flock
endure long.
to you. To talk
The
little is
greatest
natural.
perfection seems
Fierce
imperfect,
winds do not
and
blow
yet
all
its
morning.
use is
A downpour of
inexhaustible.
rain does not last the day.
The greatest
Who
fullness
does this?
seems empty,
Heaven and earth. But
yet
these are
its use
exaggerated,
is
forced
endless.
effects, and that is why
Great
they cannot be
straightness
sustained.
seems
If heaven
twisted.
and earth cannot sustain
Great
a forced
intelligence
action, how
seems
much less
stupid.
is man able to do so?
Great eloquence
Those who follow the
seems
way
awkward.
become one with the way.
Great truth
Those who follow
seems
goodness
false.
become one with
Great
goodness.
discussions
Those who stray
seem
from the
silent.
way and goodness become one
Activity
with failure.
conquers cold.
If you conform to the
Inactivity
way, its
conquers
power
heat.
flows through you.
Stillness
Your actions
and
become those of
tranquility
nature,
set
your
things in
ways,
order in the universe.
those of heaven. Open yourself to the Tao and trust your natural responses, then everything will fall into place.
When the world has the way, running horses are retired.
If you
to
stand
till the
on
field.
tiptoe, you cannot stand firmly.
When the world
If you
lacks
take long
the way,
steps, you cannot
war
walk
horses
far.
are bred in
Showing
the
off does
countryside.
not reveal
There
enlightenment.
is no greater loss
Boasting
than
will not
losing
produce
the Tao.
accomplishment.
No greater curse.
He who is
than
self-righteous
covetousness.
is not respected.
No
He who
greater tragedy
brags
than
will not endure.
discontentment. The
All
worst
these
of
ways of
faults
acting
is
are
wanting
odious,
more,
distasteful.
always.
They are superfluous,
Contentment
excesses.
alone is enough.
They are like a pain in the stomach,
Indeed,
a tumor
the
in the
bliss
body.
of eternity can be
When walking
found
the path of the Tao,
in your contentment.
this is the very stuff that must be uprooted, thrown out, and left behind.
Without
There was
going out the
something
door,
formless
know
and
the
perfect
world.
before the universe was born.
Without looking out the
It
window,
is serene,
you may
empty,
see the ways of heaven.
solitary, unchanging,
The farther one
infinite,
goes, the less one
eternally
knows.
present. It is the
And
mother
therefore,
of the
the
universe.
sage does
For
not
lack of a
venture
better
forth
name,
and yet knows.
I call it the Tao.
Does not look
I
and
call
yet
it great.
names.
Great is
Does not
boundless.
strive
Boundless
and
is
yet
eternally
attains
flowing.
completion.
Ever flowing, it is constantly returning. Therefore the way is great, heaven is great, earth is great, people are great. Thus, to know humanity, understand
Learning
earth.
consists
To know
of daily
earth, understand
accumulating.
heaven. To know
The
heaven,
practice of the Tao
understand the
consists
way.
of daily
To
diminishing,
know the way,
decreasing,
understand
and
the great
decreasing
within yourself.
until doing nothing. When nothing is done, nothing is left undone. True mastery can be gained by
The
letting
heavy
things
is the
go
root
their own way.
of the light.
It cannot
The
be
still
gained
is
by
the master
interfering.
of unrest. Realizing this, the successful person is poised and centered in the midst of all activities. Although surrounded by opulence,
The
he is not
sage has
swayed.
no fixed
Why
mind.
should the lord of the country
He
flit
is
about
aware
like
of
a
the needs
fool?
of others.
If you let yourself be
Those who are
blown
good,
to
he
and
treats
fro,
with
you
goodness.
lose touch with your root.
Those who are bad,
To
he
be
also
restless
treats
is to
with
lose
goodness,
one's
because
self-mastery.
the nature of his being is good. He is kind to the kind. He is also kind to the unkind.
A knower
the
of the
nature
truth
of his
travels
being
without
is
leaving a
kindness.
trace, speaks without causing
He is
harm,
faithful to the
gives
faithful.
without keeping an account.
He is also
The
faithful
door he
to
shuts,
the unfaithful.
though having no lock,
The
cannot be
sage
opened.
lives in harmony
The knot
with
he
all
ties,
below heaven.
though using no cord,
He sees
cannot be
everything as
undone.
his own self.
Be
He
wise
loves everyone
and help all
as his own
beings
child.
impartially, abandoning
All
none.
people are drawn
Waste
to him.
no opportunities. This
He
is called
behaves
following
like a little
the light.
child.
What is a good man but a bad man's teacher? What is a bad man but a good man's job? If the teacher is not respected and the student not cared for,
Between birth
confusion
and death,
will arise,
3
however
in
clever
10
one
are
is.
followers of life.
This is the great
3
secret.
in 10 are followers of death. And men just passing from birth to death also number 3 in 10. Why
Know
is
the
this
strength
so?
of man, but keep a woman's
Because
care.
they clutch
Be
to
a valley
life
under
and
heaven.
cling to this
If you do, the
passing
constant
world.
virtue will not fade away.
But there is one of 10
One
that
will
stay
become like a
so
child
sure
again.
of life that
Know the
tigers
white,
and wild
keep
bulls
to the
keep
black,
clear.
and be the pattern of the
Weapons
world.
turn from him on the
To be
battlefield.
the pattern of the world is to
Rhinoceroses
move
have no
constantly
place
in
to
the
horn
path
him.
of virtue,
Tigers
without
find no
erring a
place for
single
claws,
step,
and
and to
soldiers
return
have
again
no
to the
place
infinite.
to thrust their
One who
blade.
understands splendor
Why
while
is this
holding
so?
to humility acts in
Because he
accord
dwells
with eternal
in that
power.
place where
To be the
death
fountain of the
cannot
world
enter.
is to live the abundant life of
Realize
virtue.
your essence,
When
and
the
you will
unformed
witness
is
the
formed
end
into objects,
without ending.
its original qualities are lost. If you preserve your original qualities, you can govern anything. Truly, the best governor governs least.
The way connects all living beings to their source. It springs into
Do you
existence,
think you can take over the universe and improve
perfect,
it?
free,
I do not believe it can be
and
done.
takes on a physical
Everything
body.
under heaven is a sacred
Lets
vessel and cannot be
circumstances
controlled.
complete it.
Trying to control leads
Therefore,
to ruin.
all beings
Trying
honor
to
the way
grasp
and
wins.
value its virtue.
Allow your
They
life
have
to
not been
unfold
commanded
naturally.
to worship the Tao.
Know that it
and
too
do
is a vessel of
homage to
perfection.
virtue.
Just
But
as
they
you
always
breathe in
do so
and breathe out,
spontaneously.
there is a time for being ahead
The Tao
and
gives
a
them
time
life.
for being behind.
Virtue
A
nourishes
time for being
and
in
nourishes
motion
them,
and a time for being
rears
at
and
rest.
shelters and
A
protects
time
them.
for being vigorous
The Tao
and a
produces
time for
but does
being
not
exhausted.
possess.
A time
The
for
Tao
being
gives
safe
without expecting.
and a time for being in danger.
The Tao fosters
To the
growth
sage,
without ruling.
all of life is a movement
This is called
toward
hidden
perfection.
virtue.
So what need has he for the excessive, the extravagant, or the extreme?
All under heaven have a common beginning.
One who would guide a
This
leader of
beginning
men
is
in
the
the
mother
uses
of
of
the
life will warn him
Having known
against
the mother,
use of arms for
we may
conquest.
proceed to know her
Weapons
children.
often turn upon the wielder.
Having known the children, we should
Where
go back
armies settle,
and hold
nature
on to the
offers
mother.
nothing but briars and thorns.
Keep your mouth shut.
After a great battle
Guard
has been
the
fought,